Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Hiram, or some call me by my other name, Bogwa. Today I'll be covering the basics of Java, so creating a Java class, compiling a Java class, and running that Java class. This is part of a larger series that I'm doing, teaching you the fundamentals and basics of Java. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I have done is I've created this Hello World folder in my system, and I've opened it up in Visual Studio Code. Now, as I've stated before, I typically like using IntelliJ to write my Java code, but in this instance, for the fundamentals that I'm trying to show, I don't need all those additional features that IntelliJ utilizes. Now, down the road, I'll show a tutorial utilizing IntelliJ, but for now, we'll utilize this text editor, Visual Studio Code. And I have a tutorial showing you how to install it, where to get that, in addition to IntelliJ. So go ahead and check it out if you haven't. Another tutorial that you need to have covered, or at least done it on your own, is have installed Java JDK. The Java JDK is the development kit that we need in order to be able to write our Java code, compile it, and run that. I do have a tutorial for that, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out. With that, let's get started. First thing I will do is I'll create the Java file, so that'll be the hello world. So this is, I'm gonna do my Java hello world. So hello world.java. Important thing to note is the file starts with a capital letter. That's the standard that's utilized, and your Java file will always need to start with a capital letter. And then I'll go ahead and create the class, public class hello world. So in the Java file, we have a class. We have a type class. So that's what we're gonna be running. That's where we're gonna have our Java code encapsulated in. It's inside the Hello World class. One thing to note is we have this public. So that's what we call an access modifier, and I'll cover them more down the line, as you can already guess, there are other ones besides public. So from there, we'll create the main method that's needed, and this is where all of the Java applications begin from. So no matter how complex your application is, if it's in Java, somewhere in there's a main method, which is where Java starts its execution from. So I'll go ahead and create public static void main string arguments. Let's see, string args. So the args, this is arguments that can be passed, and this is what we call a method parameter. I'll cover this more in depth down the line, but for now, just kind of follow along. And here, this is the main method that you will need to define. This is utilized across all Java applications. Whenever I tell Java, hey, run this application, it will look for the main method to begin its execution. One thing to note about the main method is it has static. Now what static does is it allows Java to call this method directly without having to initialize hello world. These are concepts that we'll cover more and more down the line, but for now, just know that. So in here, we'll do system.out.println. That will say hello world, and then you need your semicolon. So one thing to know is, like, what is system? This is something that's provided. It's a class that's provided by the Java packages, and this is loaded by default, so you don't need to do any sort of like imports or anything like that. And from there, we're calling the .out, and then we're calling the .println. And as you can guess, what that's gonna do is it's gonna print out hello world. One thing to know whenever you're writing your code is you want it to be descriptive of what it's doing. So for example, here I can tell a system, so it's like I'm accessing something within the system, and I'm printing out. It's easy to read and automatically understand what's going on there. So with that, let's run this code. Let's go here. So with that, let's run this code. Let me go to my terminal. So the first thing I do is I list all the files that are there. You can see hello world.java. So the first thing that I need to do is compile this Java class. So I'll do Java C hello world.java. As you can see, Java C, where you can guess the C is for, it's for compiling. So we're going to go ahead and compile this Java code. And then if we do list of files again, you see it creates a new file for us. What it does is it takes this Java class and converts it to the bytecode that our system needs to run. So the basic understanding of Java is we create the Java code, right? And then the Java compiler compiles that code for us into bytecode that can run on your system. The important thing to know is like this is what makes Java so versatile in that it can run on any system. I can take it from Windows to a Linux to a Mac, and it'll be able to run because the code will be the same, but the compiler will take this code, compile it into the bytecode that can be ran on your specific system. That way we can write one application that can run across multiple platforms. Let's say we didn't have the semicolon and we try to compile our code. Java C hello world.java. What would happen? It would spit out an error. It'll tell you, hey, there's an error. So the Java compiler catches certain errors for us. These are what are called compiler errors, and it'll catch them before our code runs. And we will not be able to run our code until we fix those compiler errors. So now if we run it again, it compiles, and as you can see, we have the hello world class. Now to run that, just do Java hello world. And there it is, hello world. Thank you for watching my tutorials. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe if you haven't, and also check me out on Instagram at coderush.io.